We are often taught that God is an infinite source of blessings and that He always desires to bless His people. When everything in life is going smoothly, blessings flow abundantly, and it's easy to recognize God's presence. But have you ever wondered, during times of challenges, disasters, and troubles, if God is still at work in your life? When blessings seem out of reach, does it mean that God has left you? Let's explore 7 signs that even in the darkest times, God is quietly preparing you to receive the blessings He has destined for you. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment Amen, so that together we can spread God's love to more people. Sign 1. You feel like giving up. There are times in life when you feel like giving up. These moments often come after you've journeyed a long way, facing countless difficulties and challenges. The fatigue, the doubt, and the mental storms seem to overwhelm you, making you think you no longer have the strength to continue. But understand that these feelings are not the end. In fact, they might be a sign that you are very close to a blessing that God has planned for you. Remember the story of Job in the Bible. Job was a righteous man who lived a life of obedience and reverence to God, yet he faced horrific trials. He lost his possessions, his children, and was afflicted with illness. Job had every reason to give up, to lose faith in God, but instead of giving up, he chose to trust God, even though he didn't understand why he had to endure so much suffering. In his darkest hours, when Job felt like he had nothing left to hold on to, God came to him. Not only was Job blessed again, but he received double what he had lost. His blessings came right after he endured the most severe trials. Just like Job, when you feel like giving up, that's when your blessing is closest. The difficulties you are facing are not random. They are part of the purification process, preparing you to receive the greater good that God has in store for you. The enemy always wants you to lose faith, to lose hope. He wants you to believe that these sufferings are a sign of failure, that God has abandoned you. But the truth is, God has never left your side. These trials are tests of faith, and if you remain steadfast, blessings will come to you just as God blessed Job. If you are feeling hopeless, exhausted, and ready to give up, remember that this could be the clearest sign that God is very close to you. He is preparing to bless you in ways you have never imagined. Don't let the enemy win. Don't let fatigue make you give up. Instead, pray, find comfort in God's word, and keep walking in faith, believing that your blessing is on its way. As Jesus said, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." Luke 9:23. Carrying the cross is not easy, but it is through these hardships that we can receive eternal blessings. God's blessings do not come easily. They come after great trials, after we have proven our loyalty and faith. So don't give up. Your blessing is coming, and when it does, you will understand that all the pain, all the trials were worth it. God is preparing you for something greater, and all you need to do is keep walking in faith. Sign 2. God will reveal your enemies as a sign of preparing for a blessing. When you are about to receive a blessing from God, one of the clearest signs is that He will reveal to you the enemies hiding in the shadows. This is not easy to accept, but it is part of the preparation process that God is doing to ensure that you are protected and ready for the blessings to come. God doesn't want you to enter a new phase of your life with people who do not truly wish you well. Remember, even Jesus had to face betrayal from those closest to Him before fulfilling His mission. In the Bible, we clearly see this through the story of Jesus and His disciples. Before Jesus was arrested and crucified, He had a final supper with His disciples. During that meal, Jesus warned the disciples about what was to come. He knew that Judas would betray him, and he also knew that Peter, his close friend, would deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed. God didn't keep this a secret. He revealed it to Jesus, his only son. Why? Because it was part of a greater plan that God had already set in motion. When God reveals your enemies, He is giving you an opportunity to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of receiving His blessing. Remember, blessings from heaven are not just material rewards, but also peace, joy, and wholeness in your soul. But before you can receive these things, you must be willing to face the truth. No matter how painful it may be, the people you thought were your friends, the people you trusted and walked with, may not be the ones who truly wish you well. God will reveal this so you can continue your path without being hindered by toxic relationships. In life, you may have experienced moments when everything seemed to fall apart, when close ones suddenly turned their backs and you felt like you were losing everything. This is not a punishment, but a sign that your blessing is near. God is removing the obstacles so that you can receive His blessings fully. Remember, in loss and suffering, you are being prepared for something greater. God will reveal your enemies not just to protect you, but also to make you understand that your blessings are not meant for them. In the Bible, Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." This means that God will prepare a feast of blessings just for you, and your enemies will have to witness it. But for this to happen, you must understand that those who are not trustworthy need to be removed from your life. When you see yourself losing some people, it's not a failure, but part of the purification process that God is doing. Look at Jesus' life. Before He received the great blessing of resurrection and sitting on the throne of God, He had to face betrayal and denial from the closest people. The envy, jealousy, and betrayal of Judas and Peter's denial were revealed to Jesus as part of a greater plan. This not only helped Him fulfill His mission, but also helped Him receive complete blessings from God. You will also go through similar trials. When God is about to bless you, He will reveal who truly stands with you and who is just taking advantage of you. This is the time you need to hold on to your faith and understand that everything happens within God's plan. You don't need to worry about losing some relationships because what God has prepared for you is much greater than what you are losing. Listen and trust in God's guidance. He will never let you walk alone. When He reveals your enemies, it's a sign that blessings are closer than ever. Prepare your heart. Be ready to let go of what no longer fits and receive the blessings that God has already set aside for you. Sign 3. One of the most noticeable signs that God is preparing you to receive blessings is through dreams and visions. When we drift into sleep in the silence and darkness, sometimes strange images and sounds appear. They are not just fragmented pieces of a tired mind, but could be profound messages from an unseen force. The Bible tells us about Joseph, who dreamt of strange things, and these dreams revealed to him an extraordinary destiny. Joseph could not have imagined that the images in his dreams were a blueprint of a great blessing, a future where he would stand at the pinnacle, but the price he paid was the envy and betrayal of his own brothers. God has His own way of communicating messages, and sometimes it is through dreams or visions. But be careful. Not everyone needs to know what you see in your dreams. Sometimes what you see is meant only for you, a sign of preparation, a test of faith. Like Joseph, sharing his dream with his brothers led to jealousy and conflict. This reminds us that not everyone is ready to accept and understand what God is revealing to you. Daniel was another person blessed with the ability to understand and interpret dreams. But instead of running around sharing them, Daniel kept silent and only spoke when necessary. This wisdom not only kept him out of trouble, but also maintained his special relationship with God, who gave him this miraculous ability. The Bible also says that in the last days, God will pour out his Spirit on all people, so our sons and daughters will prophesy, and our young men will see visions, while the old will dream dreams. This is a promise, an assurance that God is still working through dreams and visions, and those who listen will see the path he has laid out. Sometimes dreams are not just reflections of the mind, but a map, a reminder that God is preparing you for great blessings. But do not rush to reveal them, as not everyone understands the value of what you are holding. Sometimes God gives us dreams to strengthen our faith, to show us the light at the end of the road. Cherish your dreams and visions, for they could be clues that God is sending to help you realize that He is preparing something great in your life. Do not take them lightly, and do not be too quick to share them with others, as sometimes the dreams are meant only for you to understand and prepare for the blessings to come. Sign 4. God will isolate you. Have you ever felt like the world around you suddenly became silent? Familiar voices gradually fade away, close friends suddenly become distant, and you find yourself walking in a vast, empty space where only you and the silence remain. Don't be afraid or doubtful, because this might be a sign that God is preparing to give you an invaluable gift, a blessing that surpasses all understanding. Imagine, in the midst of the storm raging outside, God takes you into a quiet room where there is no one else but Him and you. In this space, He is whispering into your ear the advice that only you are meant to hear. He is painting a bigger picture, a plan that you cannot clearly see when surrounded by the noise of life. Think of Moses, a man who once lived amidst the bustle of the Egyptian palace, and then suddenly God took him into the wilderness, where he had only sand and wind as companions. But it was in that isolation that Moses met God, was given the mission to liberate an entire nation. Without that silence and loneliness, he would never have understood the power of faith and patience. God is doing the same for you. He may be taking you away from the noise of life so you can hear Him more clearly. Don't see this isolation as a failure or loss. It's how God keeps you safe, away from things that are not aligned with the great purpose He has destined for you. When you stand alone, you are not lonely. You are in God's embrace, where He is preparing your heart and mind to receive great things. Let curiosity guide you to discover what awaits you beyond the veil of isolation. You are one step closer to the blessing God has prepared, and when He opens the door again, you will see that you have been completely renewed, ready for the better things that await. Instead of fear, embrace this opportunity to immerse yourself in God's presence. Isolation is not abandonment, it's protection. It's how God refines you, making you stronger, more ready to receive what He has long prepared for you. The greatest things often don't come easily, and sometimes it requires you to spend time in darkness to see the brilliant light that God has set aside for you. Sign 5. Experiencing spiritual warfare. When God is preparing to bless you greatly, He will lead you into a battle that only your soul can perceive. This is an invisible battle, where the challenges do not come from the outside but from within you. It's the moment you feel overwhelmed by pain and doubt, questioning whether you have the strength to overcome it. This invisible battle has no clear enemies, no swords or shields. It is a silent yet fierce struggle between faith and fear, between hope and despair. You may feel lost, as if everything you believed in is crumbling, but remember, in this battle, God never abandons you. He allows you to go through it not to harm you, but to refine you, to prepare you for something better. Imagine your soul as a raw piece of gold. To become a precious gem, gold must go through fire, enduring great heat and pressure. Similarly, this invisible battle is the fire that refines you, removing imperfections so you can become stronger and purer. It is how God prepares you for the blessings He is about to give. In the darkest moments, when it seems like all hope is lost, remember that this is not the end. It's just a chapter in your journey where your faith is being tested. Stay steadfast and hold on to your faith because God is working within you. He is preparing you to be worthy of the great blessings He has planned. The invisible battle is not something to fear, but an opportunity to look deep within yourself and discover strength you never knew you had. And when you overcome it, you will realize that every pain, every doubt had a purpose. You will see that you have grown, become stronger, and are ready to receive the blessings God has been preparing for you. Sign 6. Doors closing unexpectedly. The most important sign that God is preparing you to receive a blessing is when the doors in your life suddenly close. This may seem paradoxical. How could a closed door, a missed opportunity, be a sign of something good? But in reality, this is God's miraculous way of leading you to even greater blessings. When a door closes, many people tend to feel disappointed, as if all their efforts and hopes have been halted. However, God never closes a door without a reason. He sees what we cannot, and sometimes He closes a door to protect us from harmful paths, wrong choices, or to keep us from straying into things that don't align with our life's purpose. These moments, when a door suddenly shuts, are when God is preparing your heart, training your patience, and strengthening your faith. He is renewing your mind so you are ready for something greater that He has planned. Closed doors are not the end, but the beginning of a new journey where blessings await you ahead. Think of the story of Naomi and Ruth in the Bible. Naomi experienced great loss when her husband and 2 sons died, leaving her and her 2 daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, in widowhood. In that dark moment, it seemed that all doors of hope and the future had closed for Naomi. She even advised her daughters-in-law to return to their parents, as their lives seemed hopeless if they stayed with her. Orpah returned, but Ruth decided to stay with Naomi, saying, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16. Even though all doors seemed closed, Ruth and Naomi didn't know that God was preparing a greater blessing. Through Ruth's faithfulness and loyalty, God led them to Boaz, a wealthy and kind relative who redeemed Naomi's family's property and name and married Ruth. Ruth's story is a powerful testament that closed doors are not the end, but can be the beginning of a bigger plan that God has prepared. The trials and losses they endured were stepping stones to the blessings that God had predestined. When you find yourself facing a closed door, don't despair. Instead, see it as a sign that God may be preparing you for something greater and better. A missed opportunity, a relationship that didn't work out, or a plan that stalled could all be ways God is clearing the path for upcoming blessings. Remember, when God closes a door, He is inviting you to trust Him more, to put your faith in His perfect plan. He doesn't want you to waste your time and energy on paths that don't lead to true prosperity and happiness. Every closed door is a reminder that you are being led to better things, to a life where blessings will abound. Sign 7. God removes toxic things around you. When God is preparing to bless you, He not only leads you to a new life, but also removes unnecessary and harmful things that are holding you back. Sometimes this can be painful, leaving you feeling lonely and directionless, but it is a crucial part of your journey. What God is doing is clearing the space for His blessings to come, because those blessings cannot thrive in an environment filled with negativity and toxicity. God will remove people, relationships, and circumstances that do not align with His plan for you. As Proverbs 25:5 says, "Remove the wicked from the king's presence, and his throne will be established in righteousness." This is not just a symbolic statement, but a reminder that to build a strong and good future, you must rid yourself of wrongdoings, ill-intentioned people, and toxic situations. The story of Abraham and Lot in Genesis is a clear example. When God promised Abraham a fertile land, He asked him to leave his homeland and everything behind to follow His promise. Abraham took his nephew Lot with him, but their relationship soon became strained due to disputes over land between their servants. God instructed Abraham and Lot to separate, each going in a different direction. After they parted ways, God began to fully reveal His promise to Abraham, leading him to the land that He had prepared. This shows that sometimes separation and removal of people who are not suitable are necessary for God to complete His plan in your life. On your journey, God may remove people you once trusted, relationships you once cherished, and even dreams you've pursued for a long time. You may feel lost and lonely, but remember that this is not a punishment. Instead, it's preparation, so that you can receive the better things God has planned for you. God doesn't want you to be held back by toxic relationships or negative circumstances. He wants you to be free to embrace the abundant blessings He has prepared. In 1 Corinthians 10:21, it says, "You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons too." You cannot live in God's light while maintaining dark and toxic things in your life. These burdens, if not removed, will hinder you from receiving the full blessings that God has for you. God will not allow you to continue living with those things when He is preparing to give you a new life full of grace and light. Just as a plane needs a clear runway to land, all obstacles and hindrances must be cleared. Similarly, in your life, unnecessary things will be removed so that God's blessings can come. This isn't easy, but it's how God ensures that you won't be dragged down by toxic things as He lifts you to new heights. You must be ready to accept this change, ready to let go of what no longer serves your purpose, and trust that God is working for the best in your life. We've explored the mysterious and wonderful signs of God's preparation for blessings, but the journey doesn't end here. Each day, each moment can be a new chapter in your story. Your life is an unfinished masterpiece, and each moment can be a new brushstroke. These miraculous signs are not just for us to observe, but for us to recognize the presence of something greater, guiding us to the good things we can't yet imagine. If this video has touched your heart and opened up new feelings, don't hesitate to hit like, share, and subscribe to join us on this journey. Click the notification bell so you won't miss any future discoveries. We'd love to hear about your signs and experiences. Leave a comment and share your story with us. Thank you for walking this path with us. Keep your heart open and trust in the wonders, because the best may be right in front of you. We'll see you in the upcoming videos, where new stories and signs will continue to await us. Amen.